Hello, everyone. Welcome back to season 4 of Stronger by Community. This is episode number 5. Super excited for today's topic, for today's guest. It's going to be a total vibe. You guys have met her before. Her name is Ileana, and she is a soul purpose coach. And we are going to talk all about following the breadcrumbs of joy. We're going to talk about happiness and what that looks like and how you can empower yourself to create your own happiness. I know for me, I've had a little bit of a rough emotional week, and so knowing that my happiness is in my power and knowing that I absolutely can follow the little breadcrumbs to create my own version of happiness no matter what my life looks like is so powerful. Cannot wait for you guys to get to know Ileana a little bit more as we chat. And of course, if you loved watching this interview at the end, be sure to share it, comment, let us know what you think, and tell all your friends about how you learned about following the breadcrumbs of joy. So let's bring Ileana on. Hold on. Hang on one sec. Let's see. Okay. Just give us a second here. Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
Great, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. Um,
Good.
yeah, it's been a long week, but I have a 3-day weekend coming up. I think you
Mm,
do too because you have Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Um, so one more
hmm
day.
Yeah, we can do
We
it.
got this.
And with any luck, I listened to your intro. It was lovely. And with any luck, this conversation will help to shift some tides for both of us this week.
Absolutely. So I would love to hear, before we even jump into it, who
Hmm.
are you? What are you all about? Where are you from? Tell us all the goods.
Oh my goodness. All right. I am Ileana and I live in a little town. Actually, it's called a city, but it feels like a little town to us because we moved here
Right.
just over a year ago from the city. It's 22,000 people. We're in Brockville, Ontario, which is just about an hour from the capital city of Canada, Ottawa.
Okay.
And I am a mother of 3 children. My oldest is 21. My middle child will be 14 soon. My youngest is 7. So this is a pretty big piece of my identity.
Hmm.
And aside from, the corporate world that I am still got one foot in as well, I've always been passionate about nurturing. That's like one of my biggest archetypes is nurture. So
Hmm.
going from motherhood and straight out of motherhood, I became passionate about serving women and families as they were bringing little ones into their lives. So as a prenatal instructor for many years, and I provided postpartum support work as well for many years. And so this next sort of chapter and season of my life is like a natural evolution of
Right.
who I am as a nurturer and how I've always been passionate for many years now to support women and mothers in particular. So it's sort of like my babies are now grown up and my youngest is 7. So as much as I would still be fascinated with supporting women with breastfeeding and birthing and all of that stuff, I feel like
Hmm.
this is a new chapter in my life, the new season of my life, and it's supporting women in that sort of purpose beyond motherhood, or even if it's not looking for purpose beyond motherhood, but outside of motherhood, because that's just part of our multi-dimensional human beings that we are as parents, as mothers. That's just one factor, and there are all these other pieces of the puzzle to who we are. And so I'm really
Hmm.
passionate about helping women identify with where their passions lie, and how to pull sort of that customized puzzle of their life together in a nice, beautiful, aligned package to meet their gifts and be in alignment with who they truly are.
I love that. So I'm curious, did you start this journey of kind of figuring all of this out, during the pandemic? Did it start to happen before? How did this all come about?
Yeah, I would say for sure before. And it's like like I said, I have this one foot in the corporate world, and I've known for a very, very long time that that's not where my gifts are best served in this lifetime, and in this world for myself. And so it pays the bills, and that's fantastic. It serves its purpose. But like my oldest is 21, and so after
Right.
he was born, literally right away after, I discovered this passion for supporting women in their
Mm-hmm.
pursuit of motherhood, and in their journey on their journeys of motherhood and parenting, and families as well, right? And in the postpartum
Right.
period, I became hugely passionate about that field. And so yeah, and I've sort of always been more or less, it's funny because I always knew, like, I've known that for many years, and I've had my foot in that world as well. But a big part of me has for a long time also been searching for my purpose. And
Right.
it was sort of funny enough how in the end, pardon me, that search led me to landing into this world of serving women to find their purposes and to align with their purposes.
Right. Well, they say that your ideal people, your ideal audience is just a past version of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Absolutely.
to that end, what would you like to say to the past version of yourself that was
The
struggling to find that purpose?
answers are within you. They're really
Love it.
there. Yeah, the answers are within you 100%. And so much, it was my experience that there was a lot of this searching externally. And I think
Oh
therein
yeah.
lies the struggle, really the challenge, because you're never going to find the answers outside of you. They're inside of you. And, it did take, it took a few different things, I think, factors to come together to finally lay it all out beautifully in front of me. And, one of those factors was even just being at the right vibrational state to be able to clearly see what
Mm-hmm.
my dharma or my purpose is in the first place. And
Right.
so there are so many different aspects to our lives, like I mentioned before, and there was a big shift that happened with the pandemic. And what that was because my husband and I were both working remotely, we were
Mm-hmm.
in a position where we could actually entertain the idea of leaving the city and still maintaining our jobs and living
Love
in this
it.
small town. And that created a whole big shift. So there's like a silver lining around that. And so we came to this home in this place closer to nature and just started falling in love with other aspects of our lives.
Right.
And we also brought our kids home to homeschool in that period. Again, another silver lining of the pandemic, which is something that feels really
Right.
in alignment with me. And so all these factors of my life were sort of falling into place. And there was still this missing piece of the puzzle, but I was in such a different state vibrationally,
Mm-hmm.
just from those other life experiences and those other aspects of my life coming together so beautifully, and starting to truly feel joy and not be searching for joy, just experiencing in the present moment and feeling joyful and in love with my life, even though I
Wow.
do. And so I also started to learn about manifestation in around this point in time. I was trying to manifest this perfect home for us, or this, home that would feel perfectly aligned for us.
Mm-hmm.
And doing that, just learning a lot of the sort of concepts around how manifestation works. And part of that is about knowing when it's time to sort of let it, put out into the universe what it is that you want, take aligned
Right.
action, but then also be prepared to sit back and wait for the universe to then respond.
I like that. So you said a lot, so I want to unpack some of that. I love it. So number one, my first like big comment is I'm laughing over here because I feel like you left the city and it's almost like you quieted the noise. Like you
Mm,
were like able
100%.
to turn down some of the extra hustle bustle and
Mm-hmm.
really just quiet it down and you were able to focus on what was going on inside of your heart and inside of your
Yeah.
soul. And I think that's beautiful. Maybe that's what I
Mm-hmm.
need. Maybe I need to go down to New York City. Um, the next thing that you said was you said you had a great point about how you're never going to find joy outside of yourself. It exists within you.
Mm.
And that kind of made me start thinking of I forget where who said it? It's probably been said by like Gandhi or somebody like that. But um, it was something about like we often try to convince ourselves that whenever we have this, whenever we have X, we'll
Mm.
finally be happy.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, if you're waiting to like, you know, lose the weight, or if you're waiting to have the money, or you're waiting to build the perfect home or have the best relationship, you're going to be looking forever. I don't think it was Gandhi, but somebody
Yeah.
said it.
I don't know who said it either, but I resonate so strongly with that because as you're saying that, I'm literally recognizing a former version of myself in what you're saying, because there was
Right.
always this feeling of when X happens or when I do X, I will finally feel happy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm in a completely different place now, which is amazing. It's not to say that life is all rainbows and unicorns. For sure, I
Mm-hmm.
have challenges, but I'm generally speaking a very happy human being right now. And
Right.
what's most interesting to me about this also is that during, the point at which these shifts started happening to me were equally at some of the most challenging times for us as humans, I want to say um, of this generation, let's say, because the pandemic has caused all kinds of challenges for people in all kinds of various ways, right? So that it's incredibly interesting to me to look at it that from that perspective, to say, not only am I in a place now where I am able to reflect on my inner happiness and
Mm-hmm.
search for that happiness within myself rather than externally, but it happened at a time that for all other intents and purposes was a very challenging time. But I want to expand on that aspect of like the finding the inner joy too. And I think, like, again, going back to the searching for finding your purpose, and the answers are within.
Mm-hmm.
It's also like, how do you get to that point? It's really about getting to know yourself on such a deeper level.
Right.
So it's not just sitting there and doing nothing and then in trying to sort of understand what's going on internally. There's some work to be done there, and it's some beautiful work, and it can be really fascinating, and so many insights can come up and bubble up, but it's yeah, there's some reflection that helps to get that
Right.
out, it helps tease it out and bring it out and weave it out, and yeah.
Absolutely. And I mean, I find like, you know, as much as I'm here to lend an ear to anybody who just wants to say, I'm not happy, I don't know why. I mean, if you're sitting around saying that for years and years and years, you've got to do the work. You've got to dig a little
Mm,
deeper. Um, and like I said, as much as I'm here to lend a shoulder, lend an ear to my friends and family who say that, I get to the point where I'm like, okay, well, have you asked yourself why? Like, what are you not happy about?
mhm,
You have to dig a little bit deeper than just stating that you're not happy. Like that, I mean,
mhm.
that's great. You're aware of what you're feeling. um, but I think that like beyond awareness, like what is the next step? Once you realize like my life right now is not making me happy.
Mhm.
Other than, I mean, obviously you take a day or two to like feel upset and deal with those emotions, but what is the next step?
I think that depends on the person. So the idea really ultimately is getting to know yourself as
Mm-hmm.
best as you possibly can. And journal prompts are great, but that's not
Right.
necessarily for everybody. Coaches are great. We're really great at helping to facilitate and to guide people to the answers that are within. So
Right.
that's not necessarily for everybody, and not everybody has the means, and that's okay too. Social
Right.
media can be great if you can learn to sort of use it to your advantage, and not because it can also become a hindrance if you're
Oh
you're
yeah. I'm
or if you're
actually, yeah, right now I'm trying to move away from social. So,
right.
yeah.
Well, the reason I said that, I guess, is if you can find some positive influences. So here's an example. I love to listen to podcasts in the morning, and
Mm-hmm.
that's sort of something that I do while I walk my dog. And it's a time where it's just me and nature, my dog, and time to listen without little voices in my ears needing something from me. So, but I know that I listen to a variety of different types of podcasters, and some of them are more political in nature, and some of them are more personal growth in nature. And so, to be mindful about where I'm at any given day and what's going to serve me that particular day.
I love that. I need to start doing that. Because there's days where I'll pop on my default podcast and it's just like complain, and it's like that's not what I need today. I need a little bit more of an upbeat, like there's hope.
Yeah.
So that's a really good idea to even like when you're consuming TV or content or social media, like ask yourself what's on my heart to. I always say what's on my heart to say today, but maybe tomorrow
what's on my heart today.
What's on my heart to hear, because that's an equally important question. It's not always just about what you want to say. Sometimes it's about what you absorb.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's the people you're surrounding yourself with, and it's, it's the choices and activities that we do. Is it going to serve me more to watch Netflix tonight or to exercise? And some nights maybe I do really just need to veg and watch Netflix. Right. But do I want to do that or need to do that every night? No, right? So we constantly, like you said at the beginning of the conversation, or, before in the intro, is that we have this beautiful thing where we can make choices for ourselves. And you know what? We're also human. We're not always going to make the greatest decisions for ourselves, and that's okay too, right? But we do have that ability and the power to make those decisions for ourselves. And we can make them in terms of who we hang out with, what we absorb, how we choose to share what's on our heart, how we choose to walk and talk through the day. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I mean, there's ways, I think something I didn't understand in the past, it was very black and white. And I used to think, like, I used to have all these stories in my head, like, I would play Wordle in the morning, for example. And if I didn't get the word right, I was like, my day's gonna suck. Like, I don't know. I just would attach, like, little stories and emotions to the entire day because of, like, a simple, like, silly little game, right? And I would, like, create these, like, mind games for myself and these stories. Like, I would play, like, that game Horse. Like, I don't know if you've ever played it. It's like a basketball game. I'd play it on my driveway when I was a kid. And I remember thinking, if I don't win this game, like, I'm not going to have the boyfriend that I want. Or, like, I don't know. Like, 13-year-old thing.
Is this the paper game where you write out something?
No, it was like a basketball. It was like dumb. Like, I don't even know why I shared that example, but like
that's all right.
But like at 13 years old, I was like constantly like, like if this happens, then this, and it was just like a lot of non sequiturs. But like the thing is, like you get to choose in every single moment to be happy right now. Yeah. Just because something shitty happened 5 minutes ago, like obviously deal with that. But like it doesn't have to ruin your day. It doesn't have to ruin your week. It doesn't have to ruin your month. Like you get to choose to be happy. Yeah.
And so part of that choice, back to sort of what the title of our talk was too, following the breadcrumbs of joy. So you asked about a good first step. So a really great first step for people would be to just tune in. So I said at the answers are from within. So if we can become more present and really tune in to how we're feeling in any given moment about something, and when we have those choices present to us, it's asking ourselves, what step is going to bring me the most amount of joy right now? Or what excites me most in this moment? What are those breadcrumbs, those tiny little breadcrumbs every day that I'm faced with, choices that I can make that are going to point me in the direction of joy or excitement or happiness. And we
Mm-hmm.
can use any one of these words. They're interchangeable. It's interesting. I had a session yesterday with a client, and I had shared a journal prompt with her, which used the word joy in it. And she said, I found myself not really resonating with that word. But then I got over the word and thought to myself, well, what makes my heart happy? I'm like, well, good point. Everybody has
Right.
different words that resonate more with them. So it's not so much about the specific words. It's really about, if you think about, I could try and come up with, well, we'll come up with some examples, but the idea being here that in
Mm-hmm.
terms of the first really good step, just becoming present, listening to your heart, listening to your gut, and following those breadcrumbs of joy, excitement, what makes your heart happy.
Mm-hmm.
And the more that you can be consistently doing that, it's a cumulative effect.
Right.
So it could be like, I woke up this morning and I took my dog for a walk, and I know that I'm going to come home from the dog walk, and it's my exercise time. I'm going to work out, but I really don't feel like doing that heavy duty workout today. I'd rather just stretch my body. I think I'm going to do yoga instead. So
Right.
it's tuning into that level of presence at all moments that you possibly can within the day, because I think, we live in such a busy, go, 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 productive life
Right.
that there's so much noise just from that go, go, go. Many of us, unless you're a monk, you're probably not sitting there, or, you're not, if you're if you're at an ashram or you're in some kind of retreat, you're probably not spending your full day being very present,
Right.
And so that level of presence and being awareness is huge. And then following those little breadcrumbs, which then becomes that cumulative effect. And that's an excellent first step.
Absolutely. I mean, guys, like just to kind of expand on that a little bit, when I finally learned to become present,
Mm.
it changed my damn life.
Mm.
Like so much. To the point where I actually hosted a webinar like in July
Mm.
about being present because like it it changed my life. And when you can learn to like ask yourself, do I feel present right now?
Mm-hmm.
Your entire worldview, the way you show up, the way that you communicate with yourself
Yeah.
changes, and therefore the way that you communicate with the world and the way that you kind of just show up in every situation changes. So if
Mm.
you can get in touch with just being present, being here and now, not thinking about what happened yesterday, not worrying about what's going to happen tomorrow, you
Mm-hmm.
can get focused on like just being here and now. Like
Yeah.
if you're watching this live or if you're part of this live like um, we are present right now, and that's why
Yeah.
we're just kind of bouncing ideas off of each other. So I think if you bring presence to like every situation that you're in, the joy kind of just it's almost like a byproduct.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's so easy for us to be on automatic pilot, right? And even
Right.
interactions with our partners, let's say, they might ask us if we can do something for them, and we might be like in our heads so much and go, 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 not realizing that no, we don't actually have the time to do that because we were just about to go do something else, but then we're like, oh, fine, and we're annoyed at our partner, but our poor partner, like we just weren't being present of mind enough to say, hold on a
Right.
second, this isn't going to bring me joy right now.
Right.
Or this doesn't excite me so much right now because I had something else I was just about to do. It's just a mini
Right.
example, right? But it's like, it's so funny because I sometimes think of it as like following the breadcrumbs of joy in your life. It's a bit like Marie Kondoing your life. Does this
Right.
bring me joy? No. Okay, let it go. If we could do
Right.
the same thing with stuff when we're decluttering our stuff,
Right.
in the way that we navigate our day-to-day lives, we would all probably feel a whole lot more aligned with our own joy.
Absolutely. Right. You can like you really can interchange that word joy going back to what you were saying earlier. It's like if you're struggling to follow the breadcrumbs of focus or of fulfillment, ask yourself,
Yeah.
does this thing that I'm about to do bring me fulfillment? Does this thing
Yes.
make me feel like I'm focused? Does this thing make me feel like I'm doing something with my life? And if the
Mm-hmm.
answer is no,
Yeah.
then why are you doing it?
Yeah. Yeah. What's the alternative? You know?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why this and
Absolutely.
not something else? Like,
Mm-hmm.
um, so yeah, that's a really beautiful way that you kind of like reframe that for us. Um,
Mm.
so to somebody watching, I'm going to ask you one last question, and I'm going to start
Okay.
to do this. I've just decided right now, in being
Ooh.
present, that I'm going to do this at the end of every interview. I'm going to
All
ask
right.
kind of a hard question.
Oh boy. All right. I'm ready.
Don't be scared. It
I'm
brings
not.
together everything. So
Okay.
we talked a lot about like, first steps for somebody who's realizing they're not happy. If
Mm.
this person is, because I want to leave everyone with a little bit of hope. If this
Mm-hmm.
person is, not really into journaling, not really into meditating, not really into the woo stuff, like, let's
Mm-hmm.
give them a little bit of hope. What can they do?
What can they do? Okay. Well, it's interesting that you asked me this question because just this week, I shared this exercise and question. I think it's a really powerful question people can ask themselves. It's this one
Mm-hmm.
question that can help you to really understand or to know what you really want right now, and that can point you in the direction of joy, excitement, focus, fulfillment, whatever it is, right? So the question is this. You're faced with a decision of some sort, or you're not sure what step you want to take. And you ask yourself, if I say no to this, what am I then saying yes to?
Ooh. Wow.
So,
And you guys, can I just point out, she had no idea I was going to throw that at her.
okay.
You came in hot. You were ready for that. I
Well,
love
thank
it.
God that's my content this week, right?
Right.
But yeah, so, you can use an example of that. So, for instance, let's say I was invited to a social event and I'm like, I'm not sure I want to go. I
Mm-hmm.
can say, well, if I say no, what am I saying yes to? Well, maybe I'm saying yes to staying at home and cozying up with my children, because that's maybe what I'm feeling more in the mode to. I'm saying yes to not seeing those people. So how does that make me feel? Right? So it's about getting really present again.
Mm-hmm.
It's about quieting the noise around me and facing a specific decision with that question, saying, if I say no, that means I'm saying yes to not seeing those people. How do I feel about that? Oh, well, darn, there's this friend that's going to be there that I haven't seen in 5 years and I really miss, and I was really looking forward to seeing her. That actually, I think, outweighs the fact that I was also really looking forward to cozying up with my family. So it's that one sort of powerful question that if you can take it, and you can use it for small, medium, large kind of decisions you're faced with. And I think that it really helps you to look at it more deeply, on a deeper level, in terms of like identifying what's really of value to you in this moment, right?
I love
And
that.
I think that if we can practice that on all the sort of more little things throughout the day and get more and more present with that, then it will start to naturally and more easily flow into sort of those more medium-sized or large-sized decisions that we might be faced with in life.
Ooh, powerful. Damn, girl. Are you sure that you're not in my head right now? Like, you were ready for that.
Thanks for asking a hard question.
That was awesome. Okay, I'm now that kind of just confirmed that I have to do that for every interview.
Hmm.
So anybody who's watching that's coming up soon, be prepared. Um, that was awesome. Well, thank you so much, Ileana. I know you have to get back to the fam. Um,
Always a pleasure talking with you.
yeah, that was so fun.
Talk
And you
about.
already know we're gonna have another one soon.
Mhm.
Um, so in the meantime, how can people get
Mm.
a hold of you? How can they work with you? Tell us all the
Yeah.
good stuff.
All right. Awesome. Yeah, for sure. So the best place to find me is Instagram. So just right here on my profile. And you can DM me if you want to see a little bit of my flavor, follow my stories daily, follow my content. And really the two offerings that I have at this point in time are if somebody just wants to dip their toe in and get a bit of an experience with me before they
Hmm.
commit to something larger, then I do a 90-minute intensive for somebody to try
Wow.
things out. So it's just a one 90-minute intensive. It's spend time. I guarantee you're going to walk away with clarity and some really good kick-ass action that's going to move the needle on whatever it is that you're needing to move the needle on right now.
Love
So
it.
that is one way people can dip their toe in. Otherwise, if somebody is ready for longer term, really a huge, bigger transformation, then there's the 90-day soul purpose deep dive for mothers that I'm offering as well. And that's my one-on-one coaching program for 3 months.
That is amazing. Guys, go check out Ileana. You know what?
Thank
I
you.
just realized, actually, am I saying your name wrong? Is it Ileana?
Ileana is really, yeah, it's an intonation thing. They're both
Okay,
fine.
awesome. I'll just blame it on the New York accent. Um,
It's like
anyway,
butter.
right, right. Like, oh my God. Anyway, go follow her. Go check her out. Everything that she posts is amazing. We actually
Hmm.
got connected. I just wanted to share this really quick. So we actually got connected. This is a wild little story. Ileana tagged me in a post called like Happy Awesome Monday or something, like tag an amazing person you know, but she was trying to tag our friend Steph, um, and ended up tagging me, and we literally just had the best conversation. So
Yeah.
like the universe just led us to each other,
Hmm.
and like guys, that's the kind of person she is. So you need an Ileana in your life.
Oh,
Go check
thanks,
her
Stephanie.
out. Go hang out with her. Go book a 90-minute intensive. I might need to do that. Um, anyway, have an amazing evening, and
Thank you. You
I hope
too.
everyone watching has a great long weekend. Hopefully, you guys all have
Oh,
off on
yes.
Monday.
Yes, I can't wait.
Yeah, me
Gobble,
too.
gobble. Enjoy your
Yeah,
turkey.
yeah, for sure. All
All
right,
right.
have a
Thank you so much
great,
for a beautiful conversation as always.
of course. You
Okay.
too.
Bye.
Bye.